Oh yeah. Today we're in Multnomah Falls, Oregon. Or we're at Multnomah Falls in Oregon. And I am painting the falls right now. Currently, this is what I have. I'm working on it. So I, as I'm painting this, have just like decided that I would like to travel and paint, and then I would like to paint the places that I travel to, and then either be commissioned to travel there to paint it, or paint something and then sell it to either the city or the gift store or the national park, or however that will work. Or even like if I get commissioned to paint the outside of, or draw the outside of a business, or whatever, somebody's house, something like that, then I'll go travel to that place and I will draw or paint it for them, or whatever project they want, and maybe even some digital art, and yeah, I'll use that to not only fund my traveling but also get paid for my traveling. And I also decided to start recording this right now because I was like, well, everything is content and I might as well film as if I am already somebody with a following and subscribers at this point in time, for this reason. And even though I have had channels with subscribers and a following on multiple different platforms, I would like to start fresh for this specific reason, for this specific thing. I feel like people are walking by me as I'm painting here in my car, and they're kind of smirking and they're kind of smiling. And I feel like, if I think back to it, I haven't really seen anyone sitting and doing art publicly in a good long while. And I am being walked by. Once again. So a car pulled up right next to me, and there's also people next to me in the other car, but I'm just going to do it anyways because I have to, get over the fear of people seeing me do things or hearing me speak or anything like that. And it's like, I am just I guess I've just been uncomfortable with people perceiving me for a while now, which is kind of hilarious because I used to do theater, performing arts, and I used to do dance, and I used to do sports, and all these different things, and all of those things, even musical theater, all of those things, you're being perceived heavily while you do those things. And right now it's like, I think bro just might have got into a car that wasn't his. It doesn't look like the guy who got in it originally. But I don't know. Maybe I just didn't get a good look at him. One thing though that I feel like makes it a little different is that I have the camera horizontally on my dash, and it's obviously filming, and I'm obviously talking with nobody else in the car at the moment. And I'm trying not to feel awkward about that. But I think that what it is that most people, whenever I get perceived in the past, the way that I would deal with it and sort of describe it is that most people are just curious. So that helps me get over it a lot of the sort of like social aspect of it. Most people are just like, oh, that's different, which is kind of funny because my shirt says get used to different today. And I like to wear this around, especially when I'm feeling especially awkward. So I'm like, yes, I am different.
Yes, I am. And it is very strange and odd to be like me, but I don't care.
I can't be any other way. And I guess that's a good thing. Because I wouldn't be this way if there weren't a reason for it. And I am not going to pause my camera unless people are in frame. Even if they pull up right next to me and I get embarrassed, or if the car next to me that's just sitting there sees me keep talking, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I do not care. So, I guess this is partially, like, this phase of this video is partially just me declaring my plan of, you know, I've always wanted to be a traveler. I've been, you know, kind of nomadic since I was born, being a military kid. And I have been craving that sort of, you know, that sort of lifestyle again for a while. So if I can also do art, which is one of my lifelong passions, goals, and like something I've spent so much time of my life crafting and perfecting, well, not perfecting, but crafting and developing, with honestly very, very little evidence to show for it, because I've lost my life portfolio of my writing and my art multiple times after rebuilding it over again. So I think instead of keeping my art like I had, which ended up with me losing it, I will just give it away or sell it. That way it lives, you know. Okay, I had to take a break. My body was like, water, snacks, nicotine, bathroom. I don't condone nicotine usage. It's just my current issue of consumption. So I had to have some nicotine and go to the bathroom and have a little water and a little snack. So, also, I was thinking about it as I was sitting here, and I was like, I gotta be a little bit more like selfish, and I feel like I'm being selfish right now by spending my time doing art and doing things for myself. But then at the same time, if anyone enjoys this art, then really I'm contributing to society. And if being selfish is me contributing to society by engaging in one of my passions, like, then so be it. So be it, you know what I mean? And that's not selfish, really. And I've folded my life into other people's lives for so long. And there's so much happening in my life right now that, you know, it's okay for me to spend time doing things for myself that I enjoy, and using my gifts and my skills and like the things that I've cultivated for so long, to benefit myself firstly, and also other people. There's nothing wrong with that, especially considering the fact that I've spent so much time dedicating my life to trying to help other people, to the degree that my own aspiration. I feel like aspirate is like when you choke, right? Aspirations. Anyways, my own goals, my own joys. And I think it's perfectly okay to do that. I think that's what I should be doing. Because if I don't pursue my life and I let other people dictate what my life is going to be and what sort of experiences that I'm going to have, and they're not in line with who or what I want to be or am, if I'm not living in alignment with my highest goals and my highest values, then what the F is the point, man? I thought that like sacrificing myself and folding my life into others was like me being selfish, but really it's just me doing nobody a favor at all. So I don't need to be doing that. It's actually like, I've had somebody say, like, when I said, oh, well, I don't make art that is to the level that I'm capable. And I said, I don't know why. And that person said, because you're selfish. That person said it's selfish to not make the art that you're capable of making. So that was interesting to me. Also, speaking of, I'm doing watercolors. And it's challenging for me. It is honestly challenging for me because this is not my like normal / preferred medium. I usually do acrylic and like draw. I mean, I can use whatever medium, it's fine, but it's like watercolor is like a whole different thing. And I'm kind of using it in my own way. Like, I'm not using it how classic watercolors are used. And so it's like kind of different to me, and it's challenging to me to make art this way because I'm not used to it. And then I find myself, one of the things that when I was in art school, I realized that I had made my art so photorealistic. Like, that was my thing, was photorealism and drawing. And I had made it in such a way that I didn't have a personal style anymore. And you could barely tell, you know, that it was done by the hands of an artist, of a human, you know? And so as I'm going along, I can see myself getting into the habit of erasing the brush strokes and stuff like that. But even when I perceive art, that's one of my favorite things to see, is like where the artist chose to put their brush strokes. So why would I erase the humanness and the like artistic choices from my paintings and my drawings, you know? It's like supposed to look like a human did it. And then it's also like the more art that I make, especially at this phase in my life, the more I can see that I do have like a personal style of art, and it's just sort of letting myself create in that way that it shows. And it's challenging sometimes. And even right now, like, I'm not used to sitting in front of the camera anymore, even though I've made YouTube videos since I was 16 years old. And I was 16 years old in 2007. So I've been making digital content, like videos and blogs. Back then they were called vlogs when you were just talking, because it was like a video blog. But then vlogs ended up becoming like sort of like a day in my life type videos, like travel vlog, whatever, you know. But back then it was just like a video diary / talking to the camera. And I'm a little out of practice of that, but I also, because I have done it for so many years, and I created so many videos that are also now not online because I deleted them before there was an option to make them all private. As a 16-year-old, I had made over 300 videos and spent over 8 hours editing each of those 300 videos, and I deleted all of them from the face of the internet, and I don't have access to them anymore. So many of my projects and my creations throughout life I don't have proof of, and that's like kind of devastating, especially as like a lifelong artist who's like dedicated their entire life to their crafts. But it's okay, because I still have the experience of creating them and making them. It's just I don't have examples for other people to see besides what I make in my current life. And so it's a little challenging to, like, for a while it was like I didn't want to make anything because I was afraid of like losing it. I was afraid of loss again, so I didn't want to create at all. But that is something that I have started to get over, and it's actually funny because it's not funny actually, but like when I was in high school, I used to have this thing called a Buddha board where you painted with water, and then it would dry and then it would go away. And so I literally practiced like losing my art as a teenager before I ever really lost that much of my art. And then eventually I lost all of it. But thankfully I still have the skills and the ability and the mobility to create art. So I have had to practice, what is it called? Radical acceptance and letting go to an extreme level throughout my life. I'm 33 now, and I've had to practice that a lot in more ways than just my art profiles or portfolios. And maybe I'll talk about that someday, but that is not today. I'm a little bit stressed out right now, just because, like I mentioned earlier, like I have a lot going on. But at the same time, it's very healing for me to be able to, I'm painting in my car right now. One reason is because it's raining and I'm using watercolor. And another reason is because it's comfortable for me. And I feel grateful to have a weekend. Right now I'm still employed during business hours, Monday through Friday. And so I feel grateful that I have actually 2 days in a row, but because for a while there, recently, I was working 7 days a week and like 60 plus hours a week, which is not that much, right? But still, 60 plus hours over a 7 day period when I wasn't working for myself. I was working for other people. That's not exactly great. And so to have this time where it's like an actual weekend is actually really great and healing and restorative to me. And I'm thankful for that. So part of me like wants to go into like giving advice and like how to blah, blah, blah. But I feel like that can be taken from what I'm describing and what I'm saying, and I don't want to give unsolicited advice. But I guess if I like titled this a how to blah blah blah, then it wouldn't be unsolicited, because then you would be seeking my advice based on the title. Yeah. So I'm just going to try to not look at the people next to me and be considerate in a way, but also not let their presence keep me from doing what I need and want to do in regards to creating at the moment. Because when I'm painting and talking on camera, it's okay if people see me. I don't need to be embarrassed. Oh, I posted a video on one of my TikTok accounts years ago that said, your fear of looking stupid is holding you back, and like explaining how that was like relevant in my life. And so like, you know, some people could be like, oh, well, it's also it's raining here and it's kind of cold, and yesterday it was like 70 degrees and today it's probably like 50 Fahrenheit, and raining, and it's kind of nice. I kind of like it. It gives a very like ho 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 ho. I'm not doing that right. Ho 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 ho. I'm not doing that right. Ho 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 ho. I can't right now. The Twilight vibes. It's giving Twilight vibes. And I think that's pretty fun and pretty cool. And I love the Northwest. Honestly, I really do. Because I was born here. I'm an Oregon native, and this has been my home for many years, even though I have lived other places. And I'm grateful to be here. And to be able to call this my home, at least for right now. And part of it will always be my home. Even when I lived elsewhere, my parents would always say, this isn't your home. Like, the Northwest is your home. You're not a Southerner, you're a Northerner type thing, you know? And so that was kind of challenging for, like, identity, especially when I grew up south of the United States, like meridian, till I was 11 years old, 10 years old. But we would come visit every 2 weeks, or not every 2 weeks, 2 weeks every summer up north to like remind me where I come from, which I am grateful for, because I was able to like develop relationships with my family that I wouldn't have otherwise. Because even back then it was, you know, challenging to travel and expensive to travel. And yeah. So I'm like blending it in a little bit more. Right now it's just all green. And the thing about it is that it's not green in person. It's actually a lot of brown. So I'm gonna get a little tiny bit of brown and start that process. It would be cool if, here, let me try to do this, hold on. So I only use black, white, yellow, blue, and red for my colors, and I mix them from there. And I have art school to thank for that, because we were told, encouraged, and required to make our own colors. So I got a little tiny bit of brown. I don't really know where I'm gonna put it first, but here's the green so far. I'm gonna put some brown on here, and I don't care if people next to me are staring at me. I'm just not gonna worry about it. And I'm saying that as like I'm saying it to myself, like I don't care. Saying I don't care is actually me saying I actually am feeling very uncomfortable, but I'm like telling myself not to worry about it. Even if there's people like literally looking through their windows and watching me like show my art to the camera and talk to the camera and stuff like that, they're probably just like,
is that somebody making a video right now? Are they making a video of their paintings?
And then it doesn't even matter if they are judging in any way, you know what I mean? Because I am out here living my best life. And I'm creating art, and I love to create art, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, most people are probably just curious. And if they're not curious and they're judging, that's none of my business. So, that's how I feel about that. I might need to put a little bit of black in this, which I don't really want to do. But it's kind of like a strange color combination out here. It's like, I'm not sure exactly how to get because the rocks are kind of like blue. They're kind of blue. They're kind of gray. They're kind of brown. I realized that they actually look kind of purple to me. I'm trying not to get people's faces on camera, but I may have already. So if you're in this video, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. By the way, I have a little bottle of water in my little travel set for painting. And then I have this water reservoir paintbrush. And I just use my little squeegee. And then I put water in it. Even though this is like a pop tap lid, it doesn't fit in there. So I just use the, take off the cap. But it's very convenient indeed. And then I can just paint and like go from there, Okay, so I paused because there was some people coming up next to my car with the little babies, so I don't want to get babies on camera. Or children, Adults, it's like a different thing. It's like you're existing in a public space, right? But children, gotta watch over them. So, I am having a hard time with this a little bit because I feel like I'm trying to make it for other people, which is really not what art's supposed to be, But I'm also trying to do it like accurately in a way that like it's recognizable what it is, But then if I'm trying to do it accurately and also care about how other people are perceiving it, then I'm not really, doing my thing. So I'm trying to like mix like my own stylistic choices in with it being a recognizable landmark. By the way, it's the 100th year anniversary of this of Multnomah Lodge, or Multnomah Falls Lodge, it being like a specialized place that is like travelable and like recognized, and so I didn't even know that before I got here, but it's the 100th year anniversary as I'm painting this. Apparently it was established in 1925 and I'm here in 2025, so that's fun, different, and I just got like an inkling, like a whim feeling to come out here. And then I've been carrying around my paints so that if I get an opportunity, or if I choose to allow myself to have an opportunity to paint and do art somewhere that I'm at, then I will. And that is happening right now as we speak. Okay, look. The color depths are coming along, you know? I laid down the green first because that's like one of my lightest colors here, besides yellow, which I might put in with acrylic. Multimedia, and also I might do details with pen, like micron pens, and I do have brown micron pens and other colors, so I might do that. And then it really would be multimedia. Yeah, I'll update you later. Okay, so I just like decided to do sort of like a stippling pointillism effect with like the long side, like this, over and over again, because I basically found like this very, 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 very northwest color, and maybe it's not the exact color of things today, but it is very much, it's like a bluish greenish stone gray. And I just like did a stippling effect over like every part of the painting so far, or at least most of it. I'm still doing it right now, but I feel like it turned it into a completely different and somehow more accurate of what it actually looks like here. Okay, I'll show you.
Wow, it looks kind of nice.
Sorry, my steering wheel is in the way, but there's not really anything down there yet. But wow, because this is the parking lot. But wow, the little tree in the middle, I kind of messed it up. But also there, from where I'm sitting, there's a tree right in the middle of the waterfall. Right in the middle. Right in the middle. It looks pretty good. That was for the thumbnail. Ho, 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 ho. I can finally do it. I've been to Forks. I've been to a lot of the filming locations that are not actually in Forks. And I've been to Port Angeles. And I've been to, obviously, Seattle. I guess maybe that's not obvious to everybody. But to me it is. Obviously, I've been to Seattle. Yeah. I've done like 5 different Twilight tours. Mostly when I was 18. I went on like hella road trips. And that was like the peak of Twilight. I think Breaking Dawn. No, it would have had to have been New Moon had just come out, I think. I can't remember exactly. Because in 2008, I would have been 16, 17. So I was a junior. And then my senior year. He's a junior, I'm a junior. And then my senior year. My senior year, I went on the tours. Driving my little Volkswagen Jetta. My little 1995 Volkswagen Jetta traveled all over the place. It was a great car. She was a good car. She went on a lot of adventures with me. And now I'm going on adventures in this one. Okay. There's a little bit of darkness here. Oh no, too much water. Gotta dab the water out. Tap the water out. Dab the water out. Wow. Anyways, so I'm doing this, and I feel like it's turning out pretty well. And part of me wants to, it's only noon. Part of me wants to go to a different location and do another one somewhere else. And it's kind of far away. But it sounds really fun to do that and go there, because I kind of like that little town anyways too. I won't say which one it is yet, just in case I do or do not go there right now. But I am pretty pleased with this one. the thing is that there's a lot of yellow in it, and I didn't get that yet. So I'm gonna have to add yellow right now. One of my favorite things about painting, like I don't really have a palette when I do watercolors because you can reuse the color if you don't use all of it. You just get it wet and it's more paint. You don't waste it. That's freaking awesome. I do appreciate that about watercolors. But one of the things, now I forgot what I was gonna say. I don't remember. If it comes back to me, it comes back to me. If not, it's okay. It's fine. Oh, okay. Like, I love palettes. Like, look at this. Look at it. Okay. Check it out. Like, the palette in itself is art. You know what I mean? And when you're using acrylic, it really does become its own art piece. But, like, look at this. Like, this used to be yellow. And then I used it to make other colors, so I'm gonna have to figure something out there. But then I've just been using it over here, so now we just have yellow over here. I'm just mixing it and stuff. Yay. I feel like that whole, like, the secret to life is not giving or the secret to life is not giving an F is, like, very accurate for right now for me, because I used to give so many F's that I wouldn't do anything. It's true. And so I think that it's better for me if I give less F's, because then I actually do things. Like, I literally did not stop the camera when people were walking by, even though I was, like, showing my palette and my art, and, like, somebody right next to me, and I was, like, showing the camera my art while I still, you know, people were right there. And I didn't let myself be embarrassed. Or here's the thing, I let myself be embarrassed and I did it anyways. And so I think that's the more important part, is, like, to feel the fear and do it anyways. And it, you know, I didn't used to be like this so much. Once my frontal cord, like my prefrontal lobe, developed, I got a lot more scared about doing stuff in public and, like, being myself and, like, all that sort of stuff. I got a lot more nervous more often. And I think it's not necessarily an unnecessary thing, but it is important when you have any sort of human interaction at all to, you know, do the things that you need to do and not let, like, the fear of looking stupid hold you back, but, like, learn how to control yourself in certain environments and read the room and all that. And right now, the room that I'm reading, that I'm sitting in, it's 100% perfectly okay for me to be sitting in my car filming myself while I'm painting, and to sit in my car and paint. Like, that is what I'm reading from the room, and nobody gives an F. And if they do, all that I've seen so far is people kind of smirking. First, I was a little bit nervous. When I sat down and started. I was like, oh no, what if people think it's weird? But then I saw, like, hella people smirking, and maybe I only feel okay about it now because people have seemed to be okay with me being here doing this. But also, it's like, where I live, I don't see a lot of public artistry, or really any artistry at all anymore. And, like, when I was younger, that was a lot more normal to, like, see people in public doing art. So if I'm that person to somebody right now, then great, wonderful, because I would rather people see that, like, humans are still making art and that art still exists, and, like, there's still people out there who are, like, developing their craft and working towards goals, even if my development of my craft and my working towards goals was put on a back burner for a little while because I was putting and prioritizing other people before myself and my hobbies and my passions and my goals in life, and I was letting myself get caught into a rat race, and that wasn't even really productive or financially productive. And also it's like I want to use my God-given skills. Now, here's the thing. I used to get super upset when somebody would say that I was talented. I would be like, B-word, I have been working my entire life on cultivating, developing, and improving these skills. I'm not talented, I'm skilled. But now I see that, like, I think that, I mean, I do now, again, have faith in God, which I didn't for a little while, but that was because of humans and not because of God. And then I realized that, like, when I returned to God, I realized, you know what, maybe after some consideration, like, maybe God did put certain skills and certain passions and certain joys like implanted into me for a reason, you know. And then, like, maybe even if that reason is just for me to enjoy them, you know, and that's perfectly acceptable and okay to me. Okay, one of the things is to not get it murky. But at the same time, the funny part is that a lot of the colors in the Northwest are murky. They're not all concentrated, singular colors. But for the visual eye, it is a little better to not have them so murky, at least. Sometimes they'd have you, like, they'd have you throw out the baby with the bathwater if you had murky painting. Murky paint in art school. They'd be like, oh, that turned gray. It's over. You're done for. You gotta start over. You gotta start over. So, I'm still very happy with this. Look, wow.
I like it. It's very nice. It's being very close to what I see with my eyes. It's being very close to that. It's being very close to what I see with my old human eyes.
Praise God. Praise God that I have my senses and my mobility. Really. Praise God. You know, there have been times in my life where I didn't have my mobility, and I realized how much I had taken it for granted when I did have it, and thankfully it's returned to me, and I can walk again and all that. But having those times in my life where I couldn't, or at least couldn't really well at some points, I appreciate and will walk on purpose now just because I can. Like, there was one time where I injured myself and I laid there in bed and I was thinking about all the times I could have just walked to the store because it was in range with walking distance, and I didn't. And in that moment, I couldn't walk to the store. So I realized it put a lot of stuff into perspective for me. And, like, having to use, like, an electric grocery cart around the store to be able to get and gather food and find food, like, as somebody in their, like, early to mid 20s, like, that was a very interesting experience. And when that happened, I was living in a loft that I had to climb up a ladder. It was like a cabin loft. I had to climb up a ladder with my arms because I had injured both of my legs to get to bed every day. And then I had also an hour drive through mountain woods with no service to and from work. And the list goes on. The list goes on. So, there's something I need to add, like the waterfall. And I'm kind of like, I just changed my perspective by shifting myself. But it's okay because I'm only looking into, like, the details of how the waterfall is kind of flowing. Where it's little marks are. Also, a little girl just smiled at me, and that made me very happy. And I feel bad because I didn't look at her and smile back, because I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. Or saw her smiling out of the corner of my eye. But that was really sweet. And I'm grateful she did that. Because it kind of just gave me life for the next 17 years. Okay. I love this, honestly. I don't think it even needs the bottom parts. But we'll add them anyways. We can always cut them out. We can add them. I just don't want to add the parking lot. Even though it is part of the view. It's actually pretty cute because I've seen a lot of the people like walk by a couple times, you know, and it's like some people are here for a long time and some people are here just like for a quick visit. And at first this was going to be a quick visit for me. I was like, maybe I'll just stop in and just look at it for a second, la la la. And then I was like, wait a second, I could paint. And then it being the 100th year anniversary, I'm painting it to the happy 100th year. And that made me very happy. Okay, I think I'm going to do the details later of like the waterfall with white acrylic paint. But I am very pleased with this, and I will sign it when it's done. I'm happy with it. I'm very happy with it. I'm proud of myself for doing this. Good job, Ashley. That's my name. I'm sorry you keep seeing this. That's probably not the best thing to see. One time I was wearing a purse that went like this. I can't. Alright. I hope you have a great day. Bye. My camera just decided to film me again as I'm cleaning up. So this is my little pencil pouch that I made into a portable paint set. And I just put a paper towel in there because it's very wet in there. But look, I have all my paints I need. I have white, black, red, blue, yellow. I have 6 little plastic places. I have my little pipette. And then I have my little water. And literally, this is what I use most of the time. This one is what I use most of the time. This is my whole paint set most of the time. That's pretty good. And I put that together myself. So yeah. I did not buy a pre-made one because I knew what I was looking for and I didn't need someone else to do it for me. Okay, bye. I might want an orange. Oh my gosh, it's been filling me for a minute while I'm eating my orange. Oh, sorry. That was a stress exhale. Because I won't lie to you. I got some stress. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like everything's perfect. Like I've been told to do my whole life. But I will also not tell you the details. Yeah, you can know I'm struggling, but you won't know with what unless I tell you. But also, I'm not struggling, and I am kind of living my best life. Like, I just painted, which is one of my favorite things to do, and I'm eating a mandarin orange in front of a giant waterfall. In a rainforest. I think I'm okay.